Everybody, welcome back to another episode of FSi DFS Major League Baseball Pick Show. I am your host, MegaRuler31. Hope everybody had a great weekend. And wow, do we have an amazing slate tonight for offense. And it's kind of sad too, because there's like so many other amazing games going on. Like Red Sox, I believe, are playing Tampa Bay, and a couple other teams too, but they're at 6:40, and DK and FanDuel are starting at 7:10, so they're cutting off the early games, which is fine because it gives us a nice 8-game slate. Sometimes when you have too many choices, and there's a lot of juicy offensive choices tonight anyways, so it's pretty good that they did that. But in the future, hopefully maybe they'll vary the slate time, so if there's some really good matchups on, they'll be included in the main slate. But we can always play the turbo slate. I think it's a decent 4-game one there, so if anybody wants to play that, just put some notes in the chat, and if maybe I can throw out some notes for you, because I'll probably end up playing it, because I get to take my daughter back to school after Easter break today, and we got to pass through Baltimore, and we talked about stopping for the game. So I got my Orioles shirt on, like one in Rome. I'm a Yankees fan, but I can go support the Orioles. Never seen Camden Yards, been down in Baltimore many times and passed it, but I don't even know if they call it Camden Yards anymore. Maybe I'm dating myself, but wherever their ballpark is, should be a beautiful evening for baseball, 63 degrees. So looking forward to that, and they're playing the A's, so they should win, you'd think. But anyways, let's get to today's slate. So first game up, we have San Diego Padres and the New York Mets. We have Yu Darvish and Max Scherzer. Winds blowing out about 12 miles per hour, 55 degrees. So not hot, not cold. Wind should help a little bit. Darvish has been struggling a lot, and the Mets have been red hot, especially Pete Alonso. He has absolutely been crushing the ball, as well as some of the other Mets too. So I think the Mets are definitely in play for batting. I have Yu Darvish as like the 4th highest pitcher, but I don't know if I'm going to touch him. He might belong more in the no interest category here. And Scherzer, I have him up as the top one for now. It's Max Scherzer. Haven't seen that anything's like wrong or different, but he's giving up a lot of home runs, and this is a tough matchup here. But I think like the deep wise and with strikeouts and stuff, I think he's got the best chance to be the highest scoring pitcher here. He's a little bit cheaper on FanDuel. He's not even the highest priced one. He is on DK at 10.4, but I completely understand if you and don't want to go another option there, because San Diego obviously has a decent offense, a little bit of win there, and the home run. But we'll see how it happens with that. Offensive wise, San Diego is apparently it's got to be the top leverage stack of the night in GPP. And the Mets, I also like as a GPP. There's just so many other options that I'd rather play in cash ahead of them, which is crazy because on a lot of other slates, they would be like one of the top stacks with their recent form. Next up, we have Cincinnati and Atlanta at Atlanta, 61 degrees. Wind really isn't a factor here. Graham Ashcraft and Bryce Elder. So Ashcraft I'm not interested in. The Braves definitely have a really good offense here. They have a 5.25 total, so almost a negative 200 favorite to win this game. And Elder on the other side is pretty cheap, and I think he definitely makes a great SP2 if you want to try to get some of these bats in here. I don't think his first start was like that great. Let me just check it out here again. Had 6 Ks, gave up he scored 25 fantasy points. So I mean, against St. Louis at St. Louis. So that's definitely it's Cincinnati, so it's not in Cincinnati. So yeah, definitely really like him here at the 6.6 price tag here, and I think he's probably going to be locked in as my SP2 on the slate, just to open up some value for all these bats that we're going to want. Cincinnati would be a leverage stack because I think he would be popular against them, and Atlanta is probably going to be the 3rd favorite stack of the day. And if people are fading Coors Field, as sometimes they do on the first day of Coors Field, and I'll get to it when I get to it, then Atlanta might be pretty popular tonight behind only the Angels. Next up, we have Seattle going into the Cubs. We have the wind blowing out about 10 miles per hour, which is not bad, but any wind blowing out in Chicago definitely changes with pitching. Castillo should be able to strike them out. I mean, if they can't hit the ball, then it doesn't matter what the wind's doing. And Castillo is a solid strikeout pitcher, and I think he's probably going to be my favorite pitcher of the night. I think it's, it comes down really close to he and Urias. They're a couple $100 apart. Castillo first outing went like 4.1 innings. He went, or I think like 5.1, and then he went like 6 his second time out. So I think he's going to stretch it out against this Cubs lineup. I think unless the wind drastically picks up, I think he's definitely going to be my SP1. Smiley on the other side, not interested in the least bit. Him. Seattle, I think, again, they have a 4.54 total. They have a lot of power here, righties, against this lefty. So, I mean, you could just like 1 through 5 here. They're so solid. Riley just makes a really good catching option here at 3.9 for you. They're a little bit expensive. You'll be paying like $5K for the first 3 batters, and Suarez gives you a little discount at 4.4 there. Maybe if you want to put in, depending if like somebody else is in the lineup or so, but I think you just stack 1 through 5 there, or 4 of them, maybe if you want to drop Suarez or something. But definitely great options there. Cubs on the other side, I mean, they're cheap in the wind, but I think they're probably just more of a contrarian, unless, like I said, the wind really picks up and goes into the high teens. I think that's probably not going to be playing a ton of them tonight. But again, it's a great night to multi-enter. And they're cheaper. So if they can get you some of the other bats in and you're not using Castillo as a pitcher, then definitely they are in play. Royals and Texas Rangers, this game's probably going to be kind of forgotten just with like all the other totals and going on. But the Rangers actually have a 5 total themselves against Zach Greinke, who hasn't been that bad. He's actually been getting some strikeouts, and I'm not by any means calling him decent. I'm still putting him on the fade list. Maybe I should like switch, and maybe Smiley should be more on the fade list and Greinke should be more on the no interest list. And again, if you're multi-entering at 5.8, it is Texas. They do have the potential to have a great offense. They're kind of like Milwaukee, although Texas has shown a little bit more pop this season so far than Milwaukee has. Like the components are there. I just haven't seen them firing all cylinders yet. But with this game, Greinke, again, like I said, proceed with caution, maybe sprinkle in a little bit. If you're playing like more than 20 entry max, if you're playing 20 or less, then I wouldn't touch him. And Heaney, Kansas City has not been the greatest offense to start the season, so I think he's definitely in play in the price range at 7.9. But I think Zach Gallen is like 7.1 in a much better matchup. So, between them in the mid-range, I think that you got some decent options there. So Heaney's definitely in play here. Probably get you anywhere between like 15 and 18 DK points. And, that should be good. It's not going to score in the 30s, but it's 7.9. That works. And like I said, Greinke, bat-wise, Kansas City, I'm not really super interested in. Maybe, they are cheaper, but once you get past actually, they're most expensive. One is probably Perez at like 5K and Witt at like 4.9, but you mix in some 3K guys there too, like Fermel Reyes. He might not be a bad one-off there if you have an outfield spot. He's only 3K and he's always hit lefties well, a right-handed power hitter there. So we'll just have to see how that plays out. Texas, on the other hand, like I said, they have a high total. So if you want to build a stack of them, I completely get it, but I don't think I'd really use any of them as one-offs. St. Louis Cardinals and Colorado Rockies, Coors Field. They did not price the Cardinals up. Usually most of these guys are well into the 6K range. Goldsmith is the highest thing at like 5.9. Arenado at 5.2. Like Burleson, who should be hitting second against Marquez, the righty here, is only like 2.9. So, but let's get back to the pitchers. So Steven Matz got absolutely destroyed his first outing. I think he gave up like 6 runs. And now they're in Coors Field against a Colorado team that some of the right-handed power bats are still injured, like Brandon Rogers, and we're not sure if Cron's going to be back from his illness. But by no means am I playing Mats. Marquez on the other side, like not interested in against this St. Louis team that is very patient at the plate and can hit very well. So, like I said, I think St. Louis has got to be the top stack on the slate. It all depends on how you want to attack them. You even have a good catcher here, reasonably priced at 4-3 in Contreras that has the split advantage and should play the whole game. I don't think it's a pinch hit risk. So, Donovan will probably lead off. Burleson's really cheap. And don't forget Jordan Walker, even though it's a righty on righty matchup, the guy's just been like on fire to start his rookie season here. Even if you want to do like something unique and get away from what everybody else is doing, if Jordan Walker hits 8 and then Edmonds at shortstop, which is kind of hard usually to fill in your stack, hits 9th. If you want to wrap around like 8, 9, 2, 3, 4, or to get the catcher in there, like however you want to do that. If you want to skip Edwins and just go like 8, like 2, 3, 4, 5, I mean, that's a different way than just like stacking like 1 through 5, as like a lot of people just do for that. On the Rocky side, again, Profar leading off. I love that he's shortstop eligible on FanDuel. That opens up a lot. Bryant, Blackman, I don't know, lefty on lefty matchup. I like Blackman like 5-10 years ago, and he's still like, if he gets on, he can hit a home run every so often. If he gets on, he can still run a little bit, but his on base percentage just isn't enough for me to continuously play him. Cron, I hope he's in. Montero is a decent hitting in 5th place there. McMahon, I'd still take lefty and lefty if he's in the lineup. Diaz, the catcher, I think is in play at 3. But I look Tovar at the bottom of this lineup at shortstop 2 at 2.9, promising rookie. I think there's definitely someone that you can look at in your stacks there too. So now Washington Nationals and the Los Angeles Angels. The Angels are absolutely on fire. What an amazing game to watch on Easter Sunday last night against the Blue Jays. They got up to a 6-0 lead, and then Toronto came back and scored 6 runs in the 6th inning and then went up like 8, and then the Angels got 2 back, and then the final score in extra innings ended up being like 12-10 or something. What an amazing offensive game. And I think it was a Detmer, whoever pitched for the Angels, pitched amazing like 6 first innings, and it was like the bullpen that just completely gave it up. But like having Rendon back in the lineup has really helped. Like Renfroe, Drury's still like a little bit slow, but he's going to get going. You have Trout and Ohtani there. Ward's great. Logan Ohope, I really like him. He and Sable from San Francisco are 2 of my favorite real young catchers that I think have real great promising careers. And just so much. And they're against Patrick Corbin, who is not a good pitcher, probably one of the worst pitchers on the slate. In LA, 67 degrees, wind blowing out. Like great hitting situation for the Angels tonight. Washington, on the other hand, I'm not paying Corbin. I'm probably not playing their bats. Jose Suarez has struggled a little bit in his first start, but he had, I think it was maybe Seattle, gave up some runs there, but I definitely think he's in consideration for SP2 here against this Washington team. It's not Seattle. It's not in Seattle. He should be fine at 6'9". It opens up some salary. And if you're stacking the Angels and like he could get the win here, if he lasts long enough. So definitely another reason to potentially play him with your Angel stack to open up some salary for you. So like I said, love the Angels here. Not playing Washington. I think they would be like the least favorite stack that I have on the slate tonight. Next up, we have Milwaukee and Arizona Diamondbacks. Arizona has been hitting very well recently after starting off really cold. They're at home. It's been warm. They've had the roof open. This team is built to run too. They're getting a bunch of stolen bases. They're really loving the new rules and taking advantage of them. And Wade Miley has been struggling. So there's a great opportunity for them there. Zach Gallen has been super solid. I know Milwaukee, again, like we said, you look at this lineup on paper and you look at years past and you think, look at these, like Winkler was great against righties in Cincinnati, and maybe it was the ballpark was a factor there. Yelich has been a good leadoff guy. He's taken a step back over like the last 2-3 years. I wouldn't call him a superstar anymore, but he's still a solid baseball player. Adames can hit both sides of the plate. Tellis has always mashed right-handed pitching, and then Garrett Mitchell and Anderson have had like solid points during the season too. The rest of the bottom of the lineup is nothing super spectacular, but Milwaukee just hasn't been putting it together. And Zach Gallen has been solid. He's a good young pitcher. He's only 7-1, so I really, really like him in the medium range here too. And if you can get him in with like Max or Castillo or Urias, I think that's a solid lineup. And if not, then Suarez or Elder really work. But you're saving $800 on Heaney. And we'll get to Webb in a little bit. So Arizona bats are so cheap in a great matchup here. They got a 4.56 total. Marte leading off in second base is a 2-3. Kyle Lewis, he's projected in the lineup, but I saw he went on the DL, or IL, or whatever they call it nowadays. So I don't think he's going to be in there at 2-1. But even like Gurriel is like 3.90. He's like only like 2-3 on FanDuel. He's like super, super cheap. Walker's not bad. I don't think he'll use his first base for him tonight, but even Longoria at 3.5. Corbin Carroll, lefty and lefty, that's fine. He's a good hitter. He can run. I wouldn't, if you have to punt with like Ahmad or Moreno, there's much better catcher options out there tonight. And Thomas lefty and lefty at 2-1 at the bottom of the order. I don't know if he makes the lineup tonight, but maybe, whoever replaces Lewis is a right-handed bat. I know they called a couple people up, so, that might be another value there, but they're so cheap. They fill in so well with your LA, with your Atlanta, with your St. Louis high-priced bats. They really make everything work tonight. So I'm super excited for the pricing on them in the slate. Our final game, we have the Dodgers and San Francisco Giants, Urias and Logan Webb. Urias has played 2 games. I don't think he's even given up a run yet. He's gone 6 innings in both, and that's all you're going to get. Like, he just doesn't go deep in the games, which we all know that and expect it, which is perfectly fine. But he's in 2 decent outings already this season against a Giants team, which can put up some pop. And I know the wind's blowing out at 17 miles per hour, but again, we've always said in Giant Stadium, like you sometimes in Oakland, it's for some reason you just like cut that in half. It's not the same as the wind. It's like you take a 10 mile per hour unit of wind, and in Wrigley it's like 15, and in San Francisco and Oakland it's like 5 for some reason. I just don't know if it's the direction of the ballpark or the configuration or how the wind blows through it or so, but it just doesn't seem to be as much factor. So if you're looking at the weather, then I don't think the wind's going to be a factor. I think Urias is going to be good. I know San Francisco can put up runs at times, but I think Urias is solid enough to be able to shut them down. Logan Webb on the other side had a really good outing against the Yankees to open the season. And I know this is the Dodgers, but really, like, he's been good against righties. Max Muncy hasn't been as good recently. Freddie Freeman is Freddie Freeman, so you have him there. And Outman has been decent, and Haywood. So there's some lefties there, but the rest of his team, I think he's fine against. This is not the Dodger lineup of the last couple of years. I really think that they're kind of waiting on Ohtani to see, if they can land him and leaving some salary open and developing some of these younger players, mixing in some veterans. And, I think this is like the reload time. Like, they're still going to be competitive, but they're not going to be elite. So Webb, I do not get scared off playing against the Dodgers here. Bet-wise, I think you could still play the Dodgers in a GPP because they are, again, still the Dodgers. But I think there's so many other better choices tonight. I prefer Colorado or the Mets in their matchup. And then San Francisco, like against Urias, again, it's a leverage thing. If Urias has a bad night, then that's fine. I'd stick to like a stack. I wouldn't take one-offs, and I'd go with pretty much the righties, probably Estrada, Flores, JD Davis, and VR. And if Sabo makes the lineup, I take him to his catcher as a fifth, but if not, I'd only play four. So sorry for the coughing, apologize for that. So let's look at our cash builds for today. So I'm taking Castillo, unless the wind really kicks up, and then I'll take Urias on DK. I know it says McKinley's core, but that's just the way our sheets are set up. This is my cash core that I put out there. So if it's horrible, blame him, not me. Or other way around, blame me, not him. So anyways, but Contreras from St. Louis taking his catcher there. Goldsmith, who I put as Goldie, that's too long to write it out sometimes. Marte from Arizona, Arenado, and Burlinson, and then that leaves you like shortstop in the outfield to fill in with like St. Louis guys, like I suggested Walker, or some of the other Arizona guys. You know, Edmund, like I said, works at shortstop to a wraparound stack if he bats ninth. If not, then, you know, you can, if you want to put Armor on there, he's cheap for Arizona, but I'd probably just like punt it with somebody or whatever fills in left. Build the rest of your lineup. SP2, like I said, Suarez or Elder, if you can get to him. If not, get up to like Gallon, depending on how the rest of your bats play out. For FanDuel, same thing. I'm taking Castillo. Again, he and Urias are only a couple $100 off. Goldschmidt, Marte, Arenado, this would be Burleson. Where the K came from. And then, like I said, Gurriel is like 2-3, and I'll probably fill in with finish line, and it's going to be Arizona and St. Louis, just like the DK cash one. For GPP, you can go so many places today, but I want to get some of this Angels. So I'm going to do Angels and Rockies. I'm going to take Gallon, and then I'm probably going to take another, like I said, cheap SP2, Suarez or Elder. Like I said, Suarez makes a lot of sense if you're stacking a lot of Angels, because if they go off and do well, he's got potential for the win, and Washington doesn't scare me that much. So catcher, a Hopi or Diaz, or whoever the one is going to be for Colorado for the stack. Cron, if he's in, that's fine. If not, Otani, that could, you know, give you some more money to change an outfielder or your pitcher. Second baseman, I don't think there's really anybody from either team. Like, you could maybe throw Drury in there, but I said he's been like struggling a little bit. He had a home run last night, I think, potentially, or scored some runs. Like, so many people scored so many runs, but that might just be a one-off. Colorado, I don't think has somebody. I think that eligibility wise, like McMahon's like third base. So Rendon there. If he's not in, then I throw McMahon there, or you can flip those. Tovar, like I said, I really like at the bottom of the offense there for Colorado, is pretty cheap, has some pop, has some speed. Profar, if he should be leading off against the lefty, but if he's not in the lineup too, then there's another space for you. Renfroe is like just really been really solid. He's probably my favorite Angel bat there. And if you can get Trout in, get Trout in. If not, then you can finish off the stack. But again, I'm going with Colorado. I'm going with LA Angels. There should be plenty of salary. But again, in this GPP, you can play Seattle. You can play like Texas, you play the Mets. There's so many different ways to go. FanDuel, Gallon, same thing. Cron or Diaz there, probably hitting fifth if Cron's not in. Second and third base, I'll leave that up to you. But again, we're trying to stack Angels in Colorado. So Tovar, Renfroe, Trout, and Bryant, you have a little bit more salary in FanDuel with Gallon to get up to some more of the bigger bats than you do on DK. So I mean, again, I just absolutely love the slate. I think it's going to be a very high scoring slate for a Monday night. So we'll see what happens. I think probably the winning GPP will be over 200 points. Maybe 250. We'll see. Hopefully we don't get into like basketball scoring. That sometimes gets really crazy. So hopefully this helped you. Again, hit me up at Megaruler31 on Twitter, or leave comments below. I'll try to check them as I travel in between rest stops. And I'll be at the Orioles game tonight, so I should be around before lock if you have any questions there. As always, check back usually the video around 6:30 or so if like somebody got scratched, or if we get an update if Cron's in or not. can throw that out there. Weather changes, things like that. You know, I try to post an update if some pertinent information comes, just to reward you for, you know, watching this video and you know, supporting us here at FSi DFS. So if these videos do help you, as always, please give us a like, share with your friends, subscribe to our channel. This just keeps on growing. We want to get up to 5,000 by the end of the season for NASCAR and baseball. And, you know, we just every single day we gain a couple more viewers, and just really appreciate that. You know, if there's any other things we can do, like format-wise, McKinley and I know we approach the slates differently, things that could help you when we do these videos, then let us know. We're committed to do at least 5 a week. We usually get about 6. Sunday's just a hard day for us to do that, so with other things going on in our lives. So usually, you know, 5 to 6 days a week, we'll have a video out here for you. We try to cover if there's like split slates, the early slates, the late slates, things like that. So I appreciate your viewership. If you want more information on FSi DFS, go to the description of the video. The link to our Discord chat is there. It's free to get into the Discord. Major League Baseball package is there is a little bit of a cost to it, but it's pretty reasonable if you look at our pricing. But then again, if you just get into like the Discord overall, there's a lot of free rooms and other things that go on there that you could take advantage of. So thanks again for watching. Good luck in your contest tonight. Super excited about this slate. Super excited to go see some Major League Baseball tonight and live. And I'll see you next time.